Hey y'all, welcome back to Beyond the Row. Hope everyone's doing well. Today's video is going to be all about performing rights organizations. We'll be going over what they do and why we need them. We'll also be talking about how to register with them and how they work for us when collecting performance royalties. Right after this.
Look out, Music City! 'Cause I'm here now and I ain't never leaving!
Welcome to Beyond the Row, where we discuss the latest in music business news, how-tos, and music reviews from Beyond the Row of Nashville's 16th Avenue. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you'll know each time that we upload more music business videos. Now, we did touch a little bit on this in the How to Properly Monetize Your Music Business video, part 1. But in this video, we're going to go just a little bit deeper into understanding why we need performing rights organizations. So to start things off, I think it's important to have just a little bit of information in the background of why performing rights organizations exist in the first place. Performing rights organizations, commonly referred to as PROs. Now, here in the US, there are copyright laws that protect original works of authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and other intellectual works. In music, there are two types of copyrights. One protects the sound recording, and the second protects the musical composition. Therefore, when someone plays your music publicly, they must license the use of that music. If they do not, they would be committing copyright infringement. Now that we have a little bit of education on why they were established, let's go a little bit deeper and learn how they work. So here are some of the main roles that a performing rights organization does. They distribute performance royalties. These come from streaming platforms, radio, TV, music venues, bars, restaurants, hotels, anywhere music is being publicly performed. And the word perform here just means broadcast. How they get these performance royalties is by issuing licenses to publicly play music. Those licenses are obtained by the same streaming platforms, radio, TV, music venues, bars, restaurants, and hotels. Basically, any place that is playing music to the public. Another important role that a PRO provides is that it allows writers and publishers to catalog their songs. All PROs assign a ISWC number to each song you register. We will talk more about the ISWC number a little later in this video. Now, here in the US, there are 3 performing rights organizations that you can become a member of: ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC. However, CSAC is invite only, so we're just going to get familiar with ASCAP and BMI in this video. But before we talk about that, a word from our sponsor, me. Thank you so much for being here and subscribing to Beyond the Row. Besides talking about music and the business side of the industry, I also help create it. Fair Air Music is my music business company that oversees services such as mix engineering and music business consulting, specifically with helping independent songwriters and creators understand the proper way to register for royalties and help navigate through the music publishing process. You can visit fairairmusic.com to read more about myself and background, as well as testimonials from industry professionals and listen to projects that I've produced, mixed, and written. If you have any questions on music publishing, or if you're ready to have your song mixed and elevated to its highest potential, please fill out the information in the contact section and let us get your music sounding like a record. You can also contact me directly at emily@fairairmusic.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Now back to your video. You can see there is a difference in pricing, so you can become a PRO member on a variety of budgets, and they each offer the exact same services. Keep in mind when choosing, though, that you do have to stay with whoever you pick for at least 2 years before transferring your catalog, and you can only become a writer member of one PRO at a time. Publishers, on the other hand, can be a member of both at the same time. My recommendation on when deciding which PRO to go with is to go to each of their websites, go to the Q&As, the testimonials, and even go through the list of artists that you like and see which ones they're a member of. I think customer service is also a big thing to look at when deciding on which PRO to go with, because at some point you are probably going to need to talk to one of them. And that's a good thing. I know a lot of times I've seen videos and commentary on the fact that one PRO may collect more money and not pay out as much, and the other one not collect as much money and pay out more. The one thing that does factor into all of this is who are some of the big superstars that are members of either performing rights organization. For example, let's take Taylor Swift. She is a BMI member. So at the end of the year, they're probably going to collect a lot more money than ASCAP if it's a year that she put out a new album. Just because a PRO is paying out more than their competitor doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be paid anything, because it all comes down to what you're owed. If your song does very well, you will be collecting more money. If it's something that's only getting played a couple hundred times, a couple thousand times, then don't expect to see any bonus money just because an artist on your same PRO is collecting a lot. You receive what you are owed. For me, I chose to go with ASCAP as a writer and a publisher. These decisions were based on what my goals were and what I always wanted to be a part of, if that makes any sense. It was a little bit of nostalgia for me growing up right outside of Nashville and always seeing the old ASCAP building. I was just more drawn to it, and some of my favorite writers were already a part of it. But I also did my research and went to their websites and wanted to see kind of where my best fit was. I talked to representatives of each and just felt like I had a little bit more of a comfortable conversation with the ASCAP people, and that's who I decided to go with. This is not to persuade you in any sort of way on who you should join. There are a lot of country singers and writers that go with BMI, probably even more so than ASCAP. But back to some of the differences here, the biggest thing is going to be the membership fee. With ASCAP, writers do pay a $50 application fee, and so do publishers. Now, with BMI, a writer membership is free, and the publishing membership is $150. Like I said, both of these companies offer the same services. Now, you are not locked in for life when you choose a PRO, but I have heard that it is or can be a bit of a headache to transfer, especially if you're doing it yourself and you are not signed to a publishing company or a publishing administrator that handles all of this for you. But it can be done. You just have to go and look in the terms that you've signed to see how you can break your membership. Now, once you've decided on which PRO to go with, you will then start the application process. This will include the payment of your membership fee, if that is the route you choose. And once that process is completed, you will receive confirmation. So make sure that you check all of your emails, even in spam. Sometimes they can go into that if it's not being recognized. Follow up on emails to complete your registration. After this, you will then need to make sure that you find your IPI number. This is what identifies you as a writer and a publisher. Now, once you've received all of your confirmations and your IPI number, it's time to start building up your catalog. And how you do that is by registering your songs. Compositions are divided into writer shares and publisher shares. If you are the writer and do not have a publisher, then you are the publisher. Now, depending on which pro you decide to join, there are some differences on what it looks like when you are registering your songs. The main difference is how they see complete writer and publisher shares, but they are exactly the same, just different perspectives when describing them. Sometimes it's easier for people to see it as 100% writer shares and 100% publisher shares, as ASCAP kind of sees it more as just a simple 50-50 split, but again, it's just the difference of words when describing the splits. When registering with ASCAP, your writer shares will equal up 50%. For example, if I'm registering a song that I co-wrote with one other person so that there's two of us, I will have 25% writer share and my co-writer will have a 25% share. Or however you decide to split them up, but they must equal 50%. Then, on the publisher side, the same thing must happen. If you do not have a publisher, then you will just put yourself as the publisher. This too must equal 50% with a grand total of 100. When registering with BMI, the shares must equal 100 on the writer side and 100 on the publishing side. The song is still divided 50-50. They just have the numbers add up to 100% of writers, 100% of publishers. Writer and publisher shares are still equally split, unless you have negotiated with your publisher and that you have some stake in that, or that your publisher has more. Every song that is registered still is split writer and publisher, but it is up to you to determine how you divide each side up. Once you complete song registration, make sure to follow up in a couple of days to make sure everything was correctly approved and that you were assigned an ISWC number. This is the song's identification number so that it can be tracked and calculated on how many plays it received and determine your royalties. ISWC stands for International Standard Musical Work Code. This code will always begin with a T. Every single song registered will be assigned an ISWC number, and this number will stay the same no matter how many times the song is covered, released, recorded. It will always have the same ISWC number because that is the identification number that goes with the composition of the song. And that's it. You will need to register each song that you write or co-write. Even if your co-writer is a member of the same PRO or a different one, you will still need to register each song that you have a hand in writing or publishing. All participating members of a song and its composition must register that song inside their catalog. All right, y'all, that's it. That's the process of why we have performing rights organizations and what they do and how they work for us. If you have any questions or something's still a little bit confusing, please leave a comment down below. Or you can email me at emily@fairairmusic.com. I'll have a link to that in the description as well. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so that you'll know the next time that we upload more music business videos. Thanks, y'all.